Elmira County Commissioners for October 23rd, 2017. Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chairman, may I read something, please?
Go ahead.
Commissioner Obert will miss the beginning of today's meeting because she is on a conference call regarding the status of youth crime prevention and victim service grants for Montana, an immediate effect on Broadwater County alone of almost $150,000. Thank you, Laura. So she will be here when she's through with the conference call.
Public comment. Do we have any public comment? Any updates in anything? Commissioners?
I went to the LEPC earthquake workshop and talked to Michelle Pigliari about some HR issues.
Yeah, I was at the LEPC with the earthquake awareness. Other than that, just business as usual. These minutes of October 10th. Any additions or corrections?
I'll move to approve minutes of October 10th as circulated.
Okay. I'll second. It's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes of October 10th. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Look like there's any COS review. So, well, it's a little early yet. We'll go through a couple mails here. This is claims for county claims amount of $39,380.88.
I'll make a motion for claims and set them out.
And I'll second it. Motion made and second to approve claims in the amount of $39,380.88. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Postage meters, this is, shows the commissioners in the TV district. BIS monthly email, commissioners. Northwest Energy, this is the power bill for the Silos campground. Northwest Energy, this is the senior citizens. Okay, we have another set of claims here. These are for $54,152.98.
I'll make a motion to pay the claims and set them out.
I'll second. Been moved and seconded to Pay claims in the amount of $54,152.98. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, we have a claim for payroll here for $174,130.95.
I'll make a motion to pay claims as stated.
I'll second it. We moved to second to pay payroll in the amount of $174,103.95. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Jammed up on claims, here's another set of approved claims for $87,709.18.
I'll make a motion to pay the claims and set them on.
I'll second, we moved to second pay claims in the amount of $87,709.18. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. This is some of that stuff on the air court there. Okay, here's from Jennifer, can't pronounce her last name, Darrell Maple. Says, Dear County Commissioners, please join your local American Legion Post 42 in welcoming the National American Legion Commander for dinner. The date is the 26th October, Thursday, at 5:30. Cocktail at 6:30. A pasta buffet. Okay, this is from City Hall on this transportation of the garbage there, where they're gonna, apparently, this is what they're gonna put to the Public Service Commission.
make a motion to fill out the affidavit, support of City of Helena solid waste transfer.
And I'll second, move and second, sign this application for the City of Helena for pick up garbage at the transfer station. Did I second it? I think I did, didn't I? Anyway, second. So we'll go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. I think everything is filled out here for all it needs. I think it's just a signature, Mike.
Yeah, I told Pete I'd drop that off at the city office, so we gotta get that done. That has to be filled out today.
Oh, okay. You're gonna take it to the city office then?
Yeah, and
Oh.
he's gonna pick it up in the morning.
Oh, okay, okay.
Do you want me to make a copy of that, and I'll take it down to the city this
Okay.
afternoon?
What phone number do you want on this?
What's that?
What phone number do you want on this?
Put the commission number here, I guess.
Yeah.
This is from the Department of Environmental Quality. Amended notice extension comment period on the proposed adoption of the solid waste management. And the date is October. Yeah, that's right. Oh, November 17th. It tells about the handicapped people are able to go to it, so on. This is the and read off. About the hurricane and this is from Department of Health and Human Services. This is some money that we get for the, on the WIC program apparently, and vaccine providers for child care facilities. It just needs my signature, I guess, note on it.
I'll make a motion to sign the contract with Public Health Safety Division.
I'll second it. Move to second. Sign the contract with the Public Health Division. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. office also. 10:15, Mike Conkey, DS Coordinator. And the ambulance change order too.
Okay. Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
First item on my agenda today is the acceptance of a emergency management performance grant. This is an annual application we put in the state of Montana. They're gonna give us $26,901.50, and we have to match that equal amount. What this does, federal government gives money to the states and local governments, which covers our emergency management program, DES. And what it does is pays for like half of my salary, operating budget like that. And attached to this letter, there is 47 different federal acts and laws and things that we must comply with, which like the Lobbying, U.S. Patriot Act, Civil Rights, Rehabilitation, Marriage with Disabilities Act, Age Discrimination Act, all that stuff. Anyway, that's all the important things we're supposed to do. My responsibility as manager of this grant is to see that we can try to comply with the best of our ability. And there's an obligation document award letter, which is right here. You have a copy of that. What you're doing is you're appointing me as your sub-recipient authorized representative to manage this. And I got this on the 10th, I guess. Went to a DES conference down in Bozeman Regional Conference, and these awards were issued in. We applied for this clear back in March. Same thing every year.
This seems we have it for us.
This is the one you're gonna sign. You wanna sign up with a blue pen. There you go. Just the chairman just signs there, if you guys approve it. You gotta have a motion to approve this first before we gotta accept this grant.
I'm making a motion to approve the emergency management performance grant.
I'll second it. Who seconded it? To sign this emergency proposal grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Commissioners. I will scan that, send that in.
Thank you.
Second.
Your blue pen.
Oh, okay.
Mike, I
Yeah.
also need a copy of that, so.
You sure will. Nope. There's one here, but it's not the same copy.
Oh, okay, as long as I've got it here, that's
Okay.
fine. Good.
Second on the agenda is the ambulance change orders, and I'm gonna turn that over to the paramedic, Cyrus and Mary Mystic, the ambulance crew. And we handed that out last week. And there's 2 change orders.
Yeah. Last week talked to you briefly about just some changes from the specs on the ambulances that would increase the price of the ambulance a little bit. Just requesting that you guys approve those today.
Everything the same as you talked about
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah, everything's the same papers that you got last week.
You described the 2 change orders, and then I'll
Yeah.
get a motion on both of them.
Yeah, the first one is for a price increase of $1,750. The second one's for a price increase of $825.
What, 1,000, what was the first one, 1,000?
$1,750,
750. And the second was,
$825.
Still on schedule for about March,
Probably, yes. Yeah.
March delivery. Then we have to pay, what, 30 days after that?
90% time delivery, then the rest 30 days after.
Based upon your acceptance of it?
Yeah, yeah.
do you have to go there and pick it up, or do they deliver it, or?
It's cheaper for us to go and pick it up and drive it back than it would be to deliver it. And it's just in Washington, so.
Seattle, isn't it?
Yeah, just south of Seattle, south of Olympia.
We have a motion on those change orders.
I'll make a motion to approve change orders for the ambulance.
I'll second it. Move and second to accept the change order in the ambulance, amount of $17.50 for one and the other. Are you making them, we making both in one motion?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and the other is $825. I'll go for the Hall in favor of this.
Aye.
Aye, motion passed.
Need a blue pen? I just like to do that, so they can tell which one's the original.
So then,
Opposed to what's-
just needs signature on that page and that page.
Just one over here. Is this your right sign right here?
Yep.
And okay.
There's a check mark in each of those boxes. So, yeah, you approved.
Okay. Is that everything on that one
Yeah.
now?
And same thing on that page, check marks and.
Oh, okay, same, yeah.
Yeah. That should be it.
Take care of it there.
That's all I have, Commissioners. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, I believe so. And as far as the ambulance, you just wait now.
Yeah, it's just waiting now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How's the old ones holding up?
They're doing pretty good.
You've kept pretty good maintenance on
Oh,
them and
yeah.
everything,
We
so.
do, we have excellent maintenance on that, we keep excellent records too, so.
Where do you want me to put this
Yeah,
at?
just
Give
give it
it
to
to Mike after I get what I need off of this. Okay, I'll just put it in your mailbox.
Yes, then I'll scan it,
Very
keep it
good.
electronically,
Very good.
and give it to them.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, you bet.
Thanks, Mike.
I don't have any more mail here either, so, let's see, we're running just a little ahead, but. Allison, Extension Agent, monthly update, don't you? Come on up.
How are we today?
How you doing?
Pretty good. Alright, so make this quick. The first thing I want to talk about, and I wasn't going to talk about it today, and then I walked into the office this morning and I'm still irritated, was I want to talk about the meeting room again. And last month I had and I didn't make extra copies again this month because I gave them last month, but a draft of an application for facility use for a deposit and a fee for that meeting room. And because we had someone use it over the weekend and they had it was a birthday party or maybe it was a shower, but we have a pretty good spiel about people cleaning up after themselves. And I walk in this morning and there's balloons everywhere and candy wrappers on the floor and the tables weren't wiped down or some of them were put back but not all of them. And so I did call them to ask them to come clean it, but I would be surprised if we'll see anyone. So at some point I'm headed to Bozeman for a conference, so Tammy will probably spend an hour or so vacuuming and cleaning and taking care of the room because someone else didn't do that. So I don't know if you had any chance to look it over, think about it, but I guess I would really like to get moving on something to give someone some accountability, or at least if we have to take the time to clean it, at least we get something out of it, you know?
Right.
This is just frustrating. This is frustrating.
Wasn't, you got a price, and then, a deposit, and if they take care of everything, then there would still be a certain charge, right?
Well, I
Like
mean,
half, or how'd you end up with?
That would be my proposal. I guess if nothing else, I would like to see a deposit, even if we don't do a fee. I think we could do a fee, especially for groups like that who are just having a party. I still think, our county groups, I'm not worried about a fee there, but maybe a deposit, because we do have some county groups that use it that don't take care of it well. So I guess I'd still like to see a deposit in those cases. But my proposal was a $50 deposit and a $15 fee. But I mean, I'm definitely open to discussion on that. I started giving that as a starting point anyway.
Yeah. I guess, how are you gonna word it though on the fee, if you might waiver it, or do you wanna say $15 fee can be waived, might be wavered, or just leave that on there? And
I say
How would you-
how'd I word this is how I worded it, and I can give you another copy of this or email it to you. Priority for facility use will be given to county departments and associated groups and boards. There are no charge for these entities, but a deposit may still be required. And then I also have a couple sentences about the deposit. So I did bring one copy. That's how I worded it.
yeah, it's fine with me, just however you're working, like you said, some of you might not have everything cleaned up, you might not, so I guess you're gonna kinda have to, I guess it's your own discretion, 'cause you're the ones cleaning it and doing whatever, so. Unless you, any suggestions?
The only thing that I would suggest is change that, the wording on the deposit to a deposit will be required irregardless.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yep. Do that. And then I know there's been some we've discussed in the past about the fee, specifically. Get my pen out. Specifically where that would go to. Because there's been discussion about splitting that between our office and then the commission for expenses, or some of it is, we've discussed all of that going back towards the expenses. So I guess we probably would need to figure that out as well before going forward too. So, and how much of which, and so anyway. I would imagine probably, I don't know if we would need a decision from the commission to implement it, or can we just start it, or how would you like to?
Rob should have a motion for her.
Or we can wait. Like I said, I wasn't actually even going to bring it up tonight. I was thinking I might wait till
okay.
November, until I walked in this morning and then balloons everywhere. And then I just like, oh, I'm going to talk about it. So anyway, if you want more time I can resend the draft application if you'd like. I'm talking about the meeting room. There was a party in there over the weekend and they didn't clean up, so I was bringing back up the deposit and fee.
Absolutely.
So anyway.
Okay, yeah, if you want, go ahead and redo it there and
Resend it to you?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm headed to it's our extension annual conference in Bozeman this week, so I'm headed there as soon as I'm done here. So I'll try to get it to you this week, but if you don't get it until next week, that's why. So yep, I can do that. Okay, now on to other things. I wanted to share a couple things. There's one for everyone. And I have such a huge crowd from the public. I did bring extra copies though, in case maybe Wynn wants one.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I always bring such a large crowd with me.
Do you have extras for all of us, Allison?
Yeah, there's one for everyone.
Oh,
Did I not get enough? I could have counted wrong.
no, I was.
I think you were right on.
Okay. So just a couple little fun things, just to kind of show you where I spend my time and our office time. The color copy one is kind of a breakdown of the extension clientele, and that would, so it's either color or blue.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
or I have an issue with my color copier. So that one is, I decided this year that I needed to do a better job keeping track of our clientele that come in the office for various reasons. The big one that made me realize I needed to change, even though I always knew it in the back of my mind, is I had my promotion and tenure documents were due in the spring. And this is one of the things they ask you about, and I had some documentation, but it wasn't that great. And so this year I decided I needed to start tracking the calls that come in and the clientele that come in and what areas they're asking questions in. And so I started this in May, so I might be missing some from earlier in the year, but I've been tracking ever since, and hopefully I might have missed a few, but so basically anyone who comes in, the phone call, email, question, anything. Sometimes it's meeting someone on the street and they ask you a question while you're in the grocery store. Those are the ones that are harder for me to remember. But and this is not counting 4-H. So this is kind of the breakdown of the questions that I've gotten for 2017. This is current to date because I did slowing down now, but I'm still getting a few things. Last week I got an insect, I think. So anyway, so it's kind of I think it's interesting. So obviously, majority of my time is split pretty evenly between weeds, crop and forage, which that includes forage samples that come in, hay inspections, nitrate tests, that's all included in there, and then lawn and garden questions. And a lot of probably those lawn and garden questions are actually tree related. I would say more than half of those are tree related. And then kind of the pieces of the pie that take less time or fewer questions are livestock and range management, family consumer sciences, estate planning, and trying to think what's in the other. I think those are some of the really random questions I get that I don't know where else to put up. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Kind of gives you a little clue of how I'm spending my time. And then, yeah, over 150 people this summer. And I would like to say that's up. I feel like we get a lot more walk-ins, but because this is the first year I've really tracked it well, I can't really prove that. So, but I feel that I'm spending more time with those individuals. Then the green sheet is some historical fair summaries and just enrollment. And my hope is to add on more years. We do have a lot of historical data on 4-H. Tammy's actually been working on kind of compiling that. We have a new club that's starting this year because we continue to grow our program, which is kind of what you can see here. And we need a new club. And so we have a new club forming. Jim Lockery and Pam McDonald are the club leaders. And they've named it the Elkhorn Clovers 4-H Club. This is the first new club since 1986, from what we can tell. So, I'm pretty excited. And yeah, as you can see here, we continue to grow. So pretty cool. And then on the other side is just specifically fair. And as you'll see, fair continues to grow as well, which as it should, if the program grows, the fair should grow with it. So, I don't know, I just think it's kind of interesting. Any questions on either one of those? Comments?
Yeah, so the top projects, is that what our kids are doing the most?
Yep, that's specific to our county, yep.
All right, and then the home location, is that just what percentage of our folks fit into each of those categories?
And that's self-identified, so when they enroll, they're asked, you know, where do you live, basically. And so that's, where they identify.
This is incredible. This is really good information for us to have. Nice job.
Thanks. Well, if you look at it, if you have other questions, let me know. And like I said, I hope to add more onto this 4-H1 and kind of show at least the history. We may not have like top projects for all of the years, but we do have enrollment numbers maybe back a long ways. So just kind of recently put that together, so I have everything yet.
Any other questions, comments to Allison?
I can make a couple notes on what I'm working on right now. Basically, I'm in the process of scheduling my life out till next summer. This is kind of the time of year where I start to just do a lot of just the educational programs. Winter is obviously a good time for egg producers to come to things, so we're planning some Rancher Roundtable meetings again for the winter. I'm pretty excited. We have Kurt Pate, who maybe you've heard of him before. He's a world-renowned expert in stockmanship and low-stress cattle handling. He's planning on coming if we can get him here, maybe even a couple times potentially. One to do just a short meeting, and then two to maybe do a day-long clinic for us. And he spent quite a bit of time in Townsend in his younger days, and he, for at least his first time, is going to waive his fee to come because he wants to catch up with old friends, and so it's hard to turn that down.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I worked for Boyd Iverson for several years. So. And then we'll do some pesticide applicator training, probably do a program with DNRC on the exempt water rights and who needs to file and what you need to file. I'm already actually thinking scheduling Master Gardener program as well, probably starting that a little bit earlier this year, probably February, March, instead of a little later in the spring. New 4-H year started October 1st, so we're doing enrollments right now. We had an open house a couple weeks ago. That went really well. And so, yeah, we're just back into the beginning of the cycle for everything. That's where I'm at. So, yeah. That's what's happening. I'll be out all of this week for that conference, but then I'll be back to normal schedule probably next week. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Good work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other
Anything else? I
comments,
guess-
questions,
Thank you.
concerns?
We can do it there.
Do you have a plan for that party group that came in this weekend and didn't clean up?
I did call and ask them to come over and clean up, and I didn't get a hold of her. I just left a message, and so we'll see. Yeah, we'll just see. I guess all you can do is ask. We don't really have anything to hold over their head if they don't, unfortunately.
You can refuse to let them use it again.
Well, yeah, there would be that. And if we implement something like, the deposit in the future, I think that would help. But, yeah, we could do that, certainly. But as far as getting the room cleaned up now, I suspect we won't see them. But maybe they'll surprise me. I hope they do.
Yeah.
So, if not, Tammy, since I'm headed out, I guess it'll probably be Tammy. They'll have to spend an hour or two cleaning up in there. And maybe it won't take that long. But it does need to be vacuumed, and the tables need to be wiped down, and the balloons need to be popped and put away. Yeah, and the other thing is I came in and both of the outside doors were unlocked. They didn't lock up after themselves, and the party was on Saturday. So that was the other thing that irritated me as well. So that's not okay. So anyway, I will email that to you all again, and I suppose you probably don't have to wait for me to approve it. And I don't know if Corey maybe should peek at it too before it's finalized, since it is a contract. I suppose that probably would be a good idea, which I'm happy to email that to him as well.
It would be wise to get that on the agenda so we can go ahead and act on it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll do that. Like I said, I'll try to do it this week if I can. I should be able to find a couple minutes, but if I don't, I'll submit to you early next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Good. All right. Well,
Thanks,
thank you.
Allison.
Have a good day, Nick.
Enjoy Bozeman.
Yeah, thanks. It's a long week, but it'll be right.
Did you get both of them? Right.
I just got a blue one instead of a color one.
Would you like to color one?
I'm good, I'm good.
Right on schedule, 10:45, so. Wait a little bit. Did you have something, Win, that you wanted to?
I should be on your agenda.
Why don't you just have Lynn come up now and Brian can come up?
Okay, yeah, come on, I don't have you on the agenda, but come on up.
Well, I don't know who was on it, I forgot mine, because I
Yep.
was tied up with a bunch of other stuff this morning, but,
It was emailed to us Wednesday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
yeah.
and then I saw it posted also around town.
So I don't wanna interfere with anybody else, but, we got lots of things, I guess, and that, I think there's 3 or 4 things on the agenda there, if I remember correctly, but, first off, I wanna let you guys know, I did talk to Commissioner Delger, before you guys started today. This weekend, the Nile Rodeo recognized Mason and his family. Saturday, the owner of the Northern Hotel is a huge public safety advocate. So, he had myself and my wife and Brandon, his wife, and Eric and his wife. He got us rooms there at the Northern Hotel along with Jody and the kids. And then the guys took us to the rodeo. We got to go out and they recognized Mason, and we got to stand in the arena for Patriots Day there at the night. It was pretty cool. Quite an experience. Nice folks down there, but it was one of those things that we did. So if you want to know what we were doing on Saturday, avoiding hunting season. But the big problems that we have, there's a couple problems we have, and I know the budget's one of them, but we had that dispatcher quit in May, and we still can't find a qualified applicant. We've opened it 5 times. Actually, I take that back. We did find one. She started today, but it was we've opened it 5 times, and we have one qualified person that met the testing requirements, passed the interview, and actually passed the background. At some point, I'm going to talk with the union, and I want to give you guys a heads up on this, is that we have to do something different. Trying to get people to come in, and there's a lot of people we've had a lot of people interested in being a dispatcher or control officer. Money's one issue, shifts is the other, and one of the dilemmas that I see is that detention and control are combined in the union contract. They are, they start the same pay, and they have the same things. The problem with control officers, now they have to go to dispatch school, which is, I think going to 3 weeks. It's at 2. When we started, this is at 1. Now we also have to go to detention basic, which is now 4 weeks as well. So what's demanded of a control officer dispatcher is a lot more than what's demanded of a detention officer, and obviously the job itself is a lot more demanding. So we have union contracts coming up in May, and so I just want to give you guys a heads up that we're going to have to do something different in that component. If I continue to lose I just lost a dispatcher on Saturday, so now I'm back in the same spot I was before. If I lose 2 more, we're probably going to have to shut it down, because there's just not enough staff to operate that detention center, that dispatch center. The dispatch center goes, unfortunately the detention center goes with it. I just don't know what else to do. I cannot take a substandard person who can't type or control stress management or records and put them in that environment. It's too much. We're pulling about a little over 300 calls a day into there. Need somebody who can work under that kind of pressure. So that's kind of the not such great news that is coming down the pipe. The other issue we have, and we knew it was going to be an issue, I didn't think it was going to be an issue this soon, is the DOCs. And so, you know, DOCs and legislation basically forced the hand of DOC that you were going to cut your 572 state inmates that are housed in county jails down to 250 by the end of the year. You're going to lose $1 million. And with us being at 65.93 a day, I actually thought we were going to be okay and kind of show a little resilience to this. This is not the fact. What we're seeing is currently we have 10 of our own inmates. I think we have 43 that are in there. So that makes 33 paying inmates. And that's and we're actually housing for all over the state again. But every person I talk to, their DOC's pulling people out. They're not sure where they're going, but I will tell you they're coming back under local charges at a fairly alarming rate. So where we were at having 4 to 6, now we're at 10 to 12. And we just got one back that's a very big problematic child. But we had him on charges here, and then we let him out, and now he's back, and now he's got felonies here, and he's on our dime, not on someone else's. So that's one of the things that I saw was gonna happen, and it has. It honestly has. We're starting to see a lot of the crime rate go up with, especially in regards to the gun violence. A lot of that seems to be happening, and the people that we're pulling in jail are currently under Department of Corrections already. So when they're already on Department of Corrections, they come back on us. It's our bill, not theirs. And so we're taking some serious some hits on that. So I just talked to Sheriff Hamilton and Under Sheriff Herb Stover in Park County on Friday. They were sending their guys up to Roosevelt County to Sheriff Frederickson's new jail up there. I said, you know, we're a lot closer, so they're going to probably start sending them our way again. Trying to keep that up. Obviously, we're chasing a tail. You know, we got to try to meet that revenue, but unfortunately we're battling some things in that component. And I have met with Reg Michaels, who's the director of DOC. He actually came out of Florida. He was a regional or senior agent in charge of U.S. Probation Patrol out of Florida and New York. Very nice man. He's got some good ideas, but he's also looking at $1 million cut to his budget. So he's going to do everything he can to save that $1 million, and I can appreciate that as well. So it's a lot of communications, a lot of meetings, but it's going to be tight. That's the best I can say. And obviously you see with Lewis and Clark trying to pass their bond, is they're not bringing us inmates like they used to, because they unfortunately want inmates on the floor when they give their tours to try to pass their jail bond. So that's another issue we're facing. We did bring 6 out of Kalispell. We haven't changed our methodology much in that. If we can get a warm body to fill a jail bed, we will go get them for you, which is a cost to us, but we're trying to do a balancing act there, and I hope that makes sense. But trying to keep the jail full, it is costing a little bit. What else did I have? I'm at a loss. I did talk to Debbie, and we'll go to budget a little bit. Some of the stuff, she sent me the revenue and expenditure reports. One of the issues I have, and I did discuss it with her, and she's not here with us right now, but we're sending claims over. Debbie and Michelle are changing the accounts they're coming out of. And they said, well, we look at them, it doesn't seem like it should come out of that account. Well, it's messing my side of the house. So if I, for example, the one that I got quite upset about was the $3,100 for vehicle towing and storage. That didn't come out of the 317 account, which is vehicle towing and storage. It came out of contracted services. And that, I guess, in my book is one of the things that I've talked about numerous times. Is I can appreciate us having long, drawn-out discussions about budgets and line items and stuff, but at the end of the day, if I'm trying to figure out what I need in a line item, and the accounting office is taking it out of where they deem it most reasonable, instead of where I say it needs to come out of, we're cutting off our nose to spite our face. So, because I can't do a line item budget if people are changing where it's coming out of. So, I guess I'm requesting some guidance from you folks in how we can rectify that, because it definitely changes how things look. The other thing that I know we're over on in our budget is the BOR. That BOR money that hasn't come in yet, and most of it won't come in. Having 3 officers short this summer, with replacing Dusty, then replacing Mason, and then replacing Freddie Lee, we haven't been able to do that BOR stuff, and so we're over in that. I think quite a bit. Brandon has adjusted that to, I think now we're in about Michelle Frost. I don't know if you guys have met her yet. She's the one that replaced Mason. she's now off her training, and so is Nick. So we have one in training, and so I think Brandon's getting that BOR put back in there, so we should start seeing a little that balance out a little bit better than where it's at right now. I think the jail's just been kind of the same way. Dispatch was looking good, but I think the jail was over a little bit. I did talk with Captain Wenzel about that. There's just some things that have popped up through just everyday business that has caused that to go up a little bit. So I guess I'm open to questions if anybody's got one. Comments, concerns?
Those line item changes, I guess, I'm not sure, I guess they can do it, but the thing is, if they do, you surely should be notified ahead of time, I would think.
Well, I think part of it's just communication. I talked to Debbie about it, but you know, it's a frustrating component because it's hard enough to try to manage what's going on and then to have to go back and revisit things that you think are where they're supposed to be and they're not is definitely a frustration part. It's just, if we need to do a journal entry, that's fine, but it seems like if you just take it out where I need you to take it out of, because I said that's where it needs to come out of, I am the elected, not her. So I would appreciate it, but I think communication, and I think we're in the right direction. Debbie and I seem to communicate fairly well most of the time. So the other thing I will bring up, and it hasn't come down the pipe yet, but I see the writing on the walls. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to what's going on with the crime lab, the overall Department of Justice and all, but crime lab component, I'm having a meeting on the 3rd with Scott Larson, who's now the administrator of the crime lab, but they had made a comment, and we're not budgetally prepared for this, is that they've said it twice, so that to me that seems like a preamble of what's going to happen, is that they're going to start charging us for toxicology kits, DUI kits, and some other things that come down the pipe there. We're not, I don't think anybody's ready for that, and they haven't come out and directly said it, but with their budget cuts and everything that the legislature and the governors are going back and forth on, I would suspect that we're going to start seeing bills for those things. Not real sure what they're going to be or where they're going to come out of, but that might be something that we're going to have a discussion about as things kind of play out a little bit with what's going on with trying to get that budget done. It seems like a lot of the stuff that the state does is now starting to fall back on local jurisdictions at an alarming rate. Hence your conversation this morning over juvenile justice. So I have done a couple things. I signed an MOU with the Forest Service again to let them do what they normally do. That's been a long-going contract or MOU, allowing those officers to step in and take an initial police action outside their scope of their normal duties. That one's been around for Zens Ridge with Sheriff. So that one's not anything real new. The one that's coming up right now, and we're working on it, trying to get some language right, is a fishing game. And they want limited authority to do the same thing, is take initial police action on things they come across in the normal realms of their duties. They came in, they actually wanted blanket authority across every warden having blanket authority in Broadwater County. No, that's not going to happen. I don't have an issue with our local warden, Josh Leonard, and Justin Hockeluck, because he's got the Canyon Ferry Management Program for a fishing game. He's the LEO in charge of that. I don't have a problem with that. If you come across somebody who's in a domestic, I do want you to take action. If you come across somebody who's DUI in your duties, stop them, and we'll come and deal with it. But I was not comfortable giving blanket authority to the entire division of fishing game. So that MOU is in the process as well. The other one that's happening more on a state level, that's been presented to us at MSPOA, is the Border Patrol agents are also looking for a similar sort of MOU with sheriffs to allow them that same opportunity and So most of the sheriffs on High Line use them. We don't have really any border patrol here, there's some in Helena, but they're not actively patrolling in our areas, but that's one that I don't know if it's gonna come down or not. So I think that's my MOU update on what's going on there. Any other questions, I guess?
On the toxicology and those DUI kits, what's the guess at dollars on that?
You know, I don't know. You know, the way they do toxicologies and everything else right now is that they'll run it, and then once that result is obtained, if it's a negative result, they have another toxicologist look at it, and then they both sign it. If there's results on it, then they say it goes to the review committee, and all 4 people in toxicology review it and sign it. It could have a substantial fiscal note to it, but I think they also know that if they do that, then the sheriff's going to say, no, we'll do something different, or just law enforcement in general, because like Lewis and Clark County does not use their intoxilizer. Everything they do is a blood test. I don't think Lewis and Clark and Helena PD have a budget to pay out $100 when they do a huge amount of blood tests in just a week. I don't think they have a budget, nor can they get one to substantiate that kind of cost. So I don't know. You know, if I take a guess, if they do it, I think you'll see DUI kits. They're going to be somewhere probably around 25 to 50 bucks. I would imagine coroner kits are going to be similar, maybe not a little more, because there's obviously there's blood, urine, and vitreous versus just blood. And so I can see where they're going to have a little bit more. I also might expect to see, right now they don't charge us for their test kits, so the DUI kit itself, or the toxicology kit for coroner calls, we don't pay for those. They have them made by Searchy, and then they disseminate them to us without cost. I suggest that's probably going to change. And I can't remember what the other component they were going to look at doing, but it was one of those a little frustrating. So, because then you got, you know, livestock, or not livestock, livestock's changed too. They don't do as much as they used to, and then Fish and Game's got their biology component, so they're not out on the road as much as they were now either. So they lost 14 hours a week to biology instead of enforcement. So this time of the year where hunting season's kicking off, that burden that they're not here then falls back on my office. So it should be interesting to see what happens through all this. So.
Any other questions or comments for Lynn?
Nothing?
How many more dispatch people are you looking at?
One more.
One more?
Yeah. And hopefully, the gal they hired today, started today, her name is Mary. I believe it's Mary. I only met her for a minute. So, she actually came from the hospital. She was their grant writer over there. So, and I don't know what happened, but it's been an act to. I mean, we've had people that they've turned in apps. We've called them, set up appointments for interviews. Yep. They don't even show the backgrounds. They don't turn in. And I can understand. I guess some people don't want you digging in their background, but it's a lot. I mean, it's so. So hopefully now Mary starts her 8 to 10 weeks of her field training, and then she's got to go to the academy whenever we can get her in there. That's the other problem that's frustrating. I know they talked about it. They haven't talked about it much, but they're trying to keep the cost at the academy at the same level they are, but I have a sneaking suspicion they're probably going to go up in all this budgetary discussions as well. Sitting on the MSPOA, one of the frustrations part is that's a state requirement. Why is it